So this is the iPad, not the iPad mini, Air, or Pro, just the iPad. This is Apple's best tech deal they currently have right now, in my opinion. For $329, you're getting a very capable device that a lot of people can use as their main computer or even as a great media consumption tool. In the box, you get the brand new iPad, and it hasn't changed design. So if you've seen the previous one, this is not going to look any different. You have a bunch of paperwork. Of course, Apple likes to include stickers. I'm going to send these stickers out to anybody who wants them, so leave a comment down below and I'll reach out to you and send these things to you. And because this is the cellular model, you do get a SIM tool in the box so that you can insert and remove your SIM when needed. Now, you still get a charger in the box. This is a 20-watt charger, and I mentioned this in my mini video. You can use this to charge your iPhone 13 or iPhone 13 Pro. This is the fastest the iPhone will charge, is at 20 watts. So you can totally use this to charge all of your devices. Now, unlike the Mini, Pro, or Air, you don't get a USB Type-C cable. The iPad normal is still using Lightning, and this is kind of a downfall. I was hoping Apple would get rid of Lightning on the iPad completely this year, but you're still stuck using a Lightning connector. Now, as you can see here, I have the space gray version. It does have the cellular band on the top. If you don't see this black bar, that means the iPad is the Wi-Fi model. You can only get this in two colors. You can buy it with silver, or you can get it in space gray like I have here. The big update though is the fact that you can now get it with 64 gigabytes as the base model. They finally got rid of 32. Like, that should have been gone a long time ago, so they finally took it away this year. There's only two storage options you can choose from, 64 or 256. Just note that if you do decide to go for 256, it's still technically cheaper than the iPad mini's base model. So keep that in consideration if you just need more storage and you're totally happy with what the iPad can do. The second big update is the processor. They installed an A13 Bionic, and Apple's saying that it can give approximately 20% more performance than the previous iPad that they used to offer. Now, the display is still 10.2 inches, Touch ID still resides on the bottom, and because of that, you have thicker bezels on the bottom and the top to keep symmetry. But you don't get that newer Touch ID that you'd get on the Air or Mini. Not a big deal. I still actually really like the circular press button on the bottom of the iPad normal. It's a 10.2 inch display, so exactly the same as the previous iPad. Resolution, color, all that stuff is identical, even the brightness at 500 nits. The only difference is that with the new iPad, you get True Tone. They didn't have this on the previous one. So what True Tone does is adjusts the white balance to the ambient lighting that's in the room. Besides that, the display is still not laminated, so there's a gap between the glass and the display, which is not as visually appealing as the iPad mini, Air, or Pro. It's still there. And on top of that, you get a brand new camera. And I think this is the most important thing to take into consideration. It's using the new 12 megapixel ultra wide camera that you'd find on the iPad mini. And this brings center stage into effect. I find that a lot of people buying the iPad are usually students, someone who's doing a lot of Zoom calls or FaceTime, and that center stage camera makes a big difference. It's an ultra wide camera, so it can bring in a lot of space into the shot, even if you have multiple people beside you. But the cool thing is it crops in. So if you're moving around a lot, let's say you're in the kitchen or you're in the living room and you're kind of doing something, the camera will follow you. Now, the one thing the iPad still has that all the other iPads don't is a headphone jack. So if that's super important to you still, you're only gonna find it on the entry level iPad. Now, it does have stereo speakers, but both of them are on the bottom of the device, unlike the iPad mini that has them on opposite ends. Now, since the updated iPad is now using the A13, Apple is saying it's about 20% faster than the previous 8th gen iPad. Quite honestly, I have the 8th gen one. We use it at home. My kids use it all the time, and I don't think we've ever felt like it was too slow for us. Maybe if you're like playing the most demanding titles, or maybe if you're starting to get into like video editing on your iPad, that you might find jumping up to a mini, Air, or Pro would be more beneficial. But if all you're doing is like watching movies, reading books, listening to music, playing, normal games like Roblox, then the A13 is by far more than capable. Now, for those of you who are planning on writing on your display, you're still stuck with the original Apple Pencil. I personally think it's starting to show its age in terms of design. This was cool when it first came out, but it still looks really funny when you have to charge the pencil, as you have to connect it to the bottom of the charging port. But look, you know, it works, and you get all the stuff that comes standard with iPad OS 15. You know, Quick Note, which allows you to just swipe from the bottom right-hand corner and take a quick note down. And if you're just looking for something to like jot notes down in school, this is more than enough and it'll get the job done. So here's a quick recap. Apple increased the base storage from 32 to 64. You got a much better front-facing camera, 12 megapixels, ultra wide, which supports center stage. A lot of people doing Zoom calls or working from home will appreciate that. Faster processor, 20% more according to Apple, and you have True Tone. So the white balance changes based on the ambient lighting in the room. But here's the thing. I really wish this iPad had multi-user support. Like, this is the iPad I recommend to most people, and this is the iPad that constantly exchanges hands around the family room. Like, mom should have a profile, the kids should have a profile, instead of being attached to only one user. With that being said, I still think it's the best deal that Apple is currently offering. And all you have to do is buy a little keyboard like this, the Smart Keyboard, connect it to the Smart Keyboard connector, and you have a good portable device that you can use for work, take to school, and basically get a lot of your work done. If you have any more questions about this, let me know in the comment section down below. I will be doing a full review on my main channel, so head over there. And yeah, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.